Hello everyone. We will discuss today about the hydraulic power, which includes the pumps, accumulators as well as actuators. So let us see first about the pumps. The pump whatever we are using in any of the hydraulic system is an important part which we are considering it as a heart of any hydraulic system, right? So it is called as the heart. How the heart is important for our human body, in the similar manner the pump is also important for any hydraulic system, which is going to convert a form of mechanical energy into hydraulic energy. So the mechanical energy that we are giving for this type of pump from the prime mover, which is going to consume the electrical energy. So finally we will be supplying the mechanical energy to the pump and will be fetching the hydraulic energy. So we will discuss the pumping theory, how the pump will work in the coming slides, and now we will go for the classification of pumps, how these pumps are going to be classified mainly into two categories. The first one is the non-positive displacement pump, or it can also be called as a dynamic pump, and the second one is a positive displacement pumps. In the case of dynamic pumps, we are using such type of pumps for a lower pressure and high volume flow applications. Whenever we require a high amount of flow at a lower pressure fluid, in that case we can go for using a non-positive displacement pump, and these are not having a capability to withstand a higher pressure. We are having a maximum limit of around 250 to 300 psi. This is the maximum capacity what we are having, and these are mainly used for transporting the fluids from one location to another location. As we are not concentrating on the pressure here, we are just concentrating on the amount of the higher volume of flow which the pump is giving. And the example of these type of pumps are the axial propeller pumps, or the centrifugal pumps are nothing but the field pumps whatever we are using. Those are considered as a non-positive displacement pumps. But in the case of positive displacement pump, we are using such type of pump in every field of our fluid power systems. As the name itself indicates, a positive, the pump is going to eject a fixed amount of fluid. The pump is going to eject a fixed amount of fluid per revolution of the pump shaft. For one rotation, it is going to eject a fixed amount of hydraulic fluid. That is the beauty of this positive displacement pump. So because of its fixed displacement, because of its fixed amount of hydraulic fluid which is expelled from the pump, we are using this such type of pump for all high pressure applications in all the fields. That is the beauty of this positive displacement pump. So what are the advantages of positive displacement pump over non-positive or dynamic pumps? So they can operate at higher pressure at approximately around 800 bars, right? So up to 800 bars, that is the pressure operating with the help of positive displacement pumps. And these also can achieve a high volumetric efficiency of around 98%. So this much of higher efficiency will be getting in the case of positive displacement pumps, whereas leakage will be more in the case of non-positive or dynamic pumps. So and almost constant throughout the designed pressure range. The efficiency is also almost constant throughout the pressure range whatever we are having. And these are compact and are having high power to weight ratio. The power to weight ratio will be high in the case of positive displacement pumps, and they can obtain a smooth and precisely controlled motion, and by the proper application and control they produce only the amount of flow which is required to move the load at a desired velocity. So we can control precisely by supplying how much amount of the fluid, what distance we want, what piston movement we want. That can be easily get with the help of this positive type of displacement pump. And these are also having a great flexibility of performance. They can be made to operate over a wide range of pressure as well as the speed. We can have a wide range of such pressure as well as in the case of speeds. So next is the pumping theory, which tells about how all the pumps will work. So this consists of the cylinder, the piston and the piston rod. So here we will be having the check valve, here one more check valve we are having, and this is the outlet, this is the inlet, which we are inserting into the reservoir or the tank which is containing the hydraulic fluid. So the pumping theory can be discussed by considering the two check valves as well as the whole hydraulic system, whatever I am showing here. And initially, during the left side movement of this piston rod is going to make the increase in the volume here, right? So whenever the piston is going to move towards the left side, then obviously I will be getting the increase in the volume, right? So this increase in the volume is going to make the lesser in the pressure. That is going to reduce the pressure with respect to compared to what? Compared to the atmospheric pressure, whatever that is acting on the surface of this reservoir, right? So in that case, we are having a lesser pressure here, we are having a more pressure here. Due to this pressure difference, I will be getting the movement of the hydraulic fluid from this inlet to this cabin. During the movement of hydraulic fluid, this check valve will be in an open condition and this check valve will be in a closed condition. That is the beauty of this type of piston pumps. And whenever we are going to make the forward movement, in that case this check valve is going to be in a closed condition and this valve will open automatically because of the pressure difference. I don't have any path for this hydraulic fluid to move further, so the only option is the check valve, the ball will come out of the socket, so that I will be getting the flow through the outlet line. That is called as the squeezing of the hydraulic fluid. So this is how all the type of pumps will work. Whether you consider the gear type of pump, vane type of pump or the piston type of pump, all the pumps are going to work on only this theory itself. So the pumps are going to be classified as the gear type of pump, a vane type of pump as well as the piston type of pump. First we will see regarding the gear type of pump. Again, the gear type of pumps are classified as external gear pump, internal gear pump, screw pump as well as lobe pump. First let us see about this external gear pump. We are using two gears here and we are supplying the power to only one gear. This is the driver gear. We are supplying power to this driver gear and this gear will be in mesh with the driver gear. This is called as the driven gear. This is a idler gear. We are not supplying any energy or any mechanical rotation to this idler gear. And the whole combination of these two gears are kept in one cabin called as, this is the casing, right, where we are having a very less gap between the casing as well as the tip of the teeth. And the diameter which I am indicating here, this is called as the outer diameter that is the maximum diameter, and the inner diameter is denoted by the d naught, and the width which is perpendicular to the plane of this screen is denoted by the capital L, that is the width, right. So let us see how this external gear pump will work. From this particular point, this is the point where exactly the meshing is going to occur. If you go on moving from this point towards the inlet, you observe here there is an increase in the volume. So this increase in the volume is going to reduce the pressure. So because of the reduction in the pressure, obviously we are having a more pressure outside this pump. So that is the atmospheric pressure, which is going to force the hydraulic fluid to push into this inlet because of the pressure difference. Because of the pressure difference, I will be getting the hydraulic fluid into this negative pressure cabin. And next, for further rotation, whatever the gap we are having in between the teeth, that will be occupied with the help of this hydraulic fluid itself, and this side also, as well as on this side also. When the hydraulic fluid reaches the top position, so here there is again the meshing of the teeth is going to occur. So this meshing of the teeth is going to make the squeezing action on the hydraulic fluid. So here the pressure is going to be increased because the teeth are going to be meshed, because of which there is a reduction in the volume. Obviously the reduction in the volume is going to increase the pressure, because I don't have any option for the hydraulic fluid to move further, so that it will take the path of the outlet line itself. So this is how the external type of gear pump will work. So as we have seen the diameters, the outside diameter, inside diameter, the width, and this is the volumetric displacement. It is nothing but the amount of volume which we are displacing with the help of pump per revolution. Per revolution of the shaft, how much amount of the fluid that is displaced from the pump will be given by the volumetric displacement Vd, which will be mentioned in terms of inch cube per revolution or meter cube per revolution, and n is the speed of the pump, it is the RPM, and Qt is the theoretical flow rate. So by using this data, theoretically how much flow the pump will give, that can be calculated here. So area is nothing but the difference in the outer diameter as well as the inner diameter. That means pi by 4 d naught square minus pi by 4 di square. I will take pi by 4 as a common, and I will bring these things into bracket. This is nothing but the area multiplied by the length, that is nothing but the width of the gear teeth, which will give the volumetric displacement, right. And next, in order to get the Qt, that is the theoretical flow rate, we should multiply the number of revolutions, because whatever the Vd we are going to calculate, that is per revolution, how many revolutions that is going to occur per minute or per second. By multiplying that one, we will be getting the value of Qt. If you want the Qt in terms of the gallons per minute, then we should divide the Vd into n by 231 as a constant. If not, we will be getting this one. So this is for the metric unit, and this is for the English units, right. So we can use any one formula between these two. And the volumetric efficiency of these gear pumps or any type of pump will be given by the ratios of QA divided by QT. That means ratios of actual flow rate divided by theoretical flow rate. How much theoretically the pump should give, but in practice the actual flow rate whatever we are getting, that will be lesser than the theoretical flow rate. So obviously the ratios will be lesser than 1 itself, right. Always the efficiency should not be greater than 100%. So in this case, the numerator whatever we are having, that will be more compared to the denominator, so that obviously the efficiency will be lesser than the 100. if you plot a graph of flow versus speed, then we'll be getting the linear graph, because whatever the qt we are having which will be given by the product of Vd into n. That means the q is proportional to n, so we'll be getting the linear graph, right? So as much as how we are going to increase the speed, similarly the flow rate is going to increase. In the next graph, if you plot a pressure versus flow, irrespective of this pressure, the theoretical flow rate will be a constant, right? Whether you are going to increase the pressure or reduce the pressure, the qt will remain same, whereas the dotted line is going to indicate the actual flow rate. That means by increasing the pressure, there will be a reduction in the flow rate. That means it is going to reduce from qt to this qa, right? So whatever the gap we are having between this line and this line, that is going to give me the losses. Those are nothing but the internal losses which we are having in the case of pumps. So next type of pump we are having is the internal gear pump. So this internal gear pump is consisting of the internal gear. So this is the internal gear which is having the number of teeth, and the gear which is consisting of the inner teeth also. This is the casing. So this is the casing, and the important part here is the crescent seal. So this, whatever the moon shape we are having here, so that is called as the crescent seal, which is used to differentiate between the inlet as well as the outlet. So this is the crescent seal whatever we are having, which is going to differentiate between the lower pressure side as well as the higher pressure side. Again we will see how this pump will work. See here, from this point, if you observe here, there is an increase in the volume because the teeth are going to be in unmeshed condition, right? So the teeth are going to be in unmeshed condition, because of which there is a increase in the volume. So this increase in the volume is going to reduce the pressure. So obviously the outside pressure we are having more compared to the inside, so the hydraulic fluid will be sucked into the chamber, and when it reaches this particular point, whatever the gap we are having between the teeth, that will take the hydraulic fluid, and finally at this particular point there is a reduction in the volume because of meshing of the teeth again. So because of which there is a squeezing action on the hydraulic fluid. This makes the hydraulic fluid to move out of the outlet line, right? The crescent seal whatever we are having, that is used in order to differentiate between the lower pressure side as well as the higher pressure side, which will remain in a stationary condition itself. That is how the internal gear pump will work. And next type of pump is a screw type of pump, which is consisting of the two inlets on both the sides. So this is a one side, left side we are having the inlet. Similarly on the right side also we will be having a one inlet, and at the center we will be having the outlet. So from both the side we will be supplying the hydraulic fluid, and whatever the gap we are having between these grooves, that gap is utilized in order to occupy the hydraulic fluid as well as to transmit from this to this end. Similarly here also and here also, right? So when all this amount of fluid which is coming to the center point, here I don't have any option further for the flow of hydraulic fluid. Obviously it will take the outlet port, and here the bottom one is a idler one, just it is going to be rotated by meshing with the upper screw, which will be rotated with the help of some other mechanism. So this is in the case of screw pump. So next one is the lobe type of pump. It is also working similar to the external type of gear pump, but instead of the gears we will be having the lobes here. So these are called as the lobes, right? So we are having the 3 lobes in this diagram. So the advantage of this one is, because of this smooth curve, we won't get a much physical contact between those gears, which is going to reduce the noise of the system. And this is also going to work in the similar manner, that is increase in the volume, reduction in the pressure, suction of the hydraulic fluid, and here there is a meshing of the teeth, which is going to reduce the volume, so that I will be getting the hydraulic fluid through the discharge, right? So this is how all the type of gear pumps will work. Thank you for watching.